Hello, back here. So this is the Primal Gravedigger. I'm Ramon, and you're watching All Scale RC. Along with this truck, I bought the brushless conversion from Fine Designs, and I will be doing the brushless conversion on the next video. In this video, we are going to assemble it. So that way we'll at least have it on its wheels, and it'll be more stable. Now, funny thing is, once I put the wheels on this thing, it doesn't fit through my door. I already measured it. It's like 1 inch too wide to fit through the door. So I wish I had the Monsters truck skinny tires so that I can get it in and out my office here, my shop. Okay, so I went ahead and weighed the front axle. Front axle weighs over 11 pounds. It uses 100 kg servos, 2 of them. And this front bumper is actually aluminum, it's not plastic. So everything on here is metal, between steel and aluminum. The drive shafts, I still have them in the bag because they're greasy. They weigh 1.5 pounds each. There's 2 drive shafts. It does have disc brakes on the drive shaft, just like on a real monster truck. They are not hydraulic, they are actuated with cables. So to me that's a plus. I rather not have the hydraulic and have to worry about fluid in the line. So they're just cable drawn brakes, just like on your bike. Has 2 shocks on every corner. The shocks come already pre-filled with 100 CST shock oil, which at first I was a little worried because I thought they were empty, and I thought I was gonna have to buy like 8 bottles of oil. Well, I think those are the important bits. Let's start building this thing. I have this thing sitting on 2 yoga blocks. Well, actually, it's sitting on 1 yoga block, and I have one in the back so it doesn't tip back. I'm gonna remove the body so it'll be easier to install the shocks. It is definitely easier to work on without the body on. Now I can see. Okay, so first start with the drive shafts. They are both identical front to back, so just pick one, anyone. Okay, so you want to put the, I guess you would say the fat side of the drive shaft to the transmission first. Make sure you apply Loctite to your drive shaft pins or it's going to make it for a short run that day. Okay, so both front and rear axles are installed, brake discs are installed, and drive shafts are installed. I went ahead and attached the shocks front and rear on this side of the truck. I needed to figure out how to take apart the axle hub in order to get one of the screws in. So the front's a little bit more involved than the rear. So let's go ahead and do the other side so that you guys can see what's involved. So in order to get the front shock on, you actually have to remove this part of the steering arm and this hub assembly off in order to be able to get the screw in for this front shock, which is kind of a little bit of work, but it's probably the worst thing that you actually have to do on this truck, besides probably the brushless conversion. Okay, for starters, you have to remove this 1 bolt. You have to undo this 1 bolt from the steering arm and these 2 that hold the steering hub. And you have to remove the top and bottom bolts that hold in the steering hub. And then this will slide out, and then there's 2 more bolts that you have to undo that hold this bracket on. So let's get to it. Now I use another wrench. I use a second wrench as for leverage. You've never tried that? Makes your life a lot easier and you bust a lot less knuckles. Now when you put this back together, remember to use Loctite. Okay, and be careful not to lose this little bushing that goes underneath. it goes underneath here. But it just falls out when you slide it out. You'll see me put it back in the assembly. Okay, there's 2 screws right in here that hold this piece on. So we have to remove them. Okay, here's the piece. It's out of my way. Now I could put on that front shock. Now there's just a nut and a washer. Make sure you put them back on. Now the nuts for the shocks, for the bottom of the shock arm, I'm putting on Loctite on there because you have to remove the steering arm and the hub in order to get this nut and bolt in. So I'm making sure it doesn't come out. One of the best things about working on this truck is I don't have to worry about stripping stuff. You can actually wrench on stuff with this thing, which is pretty cool. Okay, let's put this hub assembly back together and make sure you put Loctite on everything you undid. Remember, when using power tools, always go back and double check. Always check to make sure everything's tight, since you could be running on a low battery and not even realize it. Okay, both sets of shocks are on. We're going to start doing the back. Back's easy compared to the front. Makes no difference in what order you put them in. It's whatever you feel like it. Makes no difference. Gonna just go around tightening the top nuts for all the shocks. Okay, so all the shocks are in. We're good. All right, now we have the sway bar links to do, and those are pretty easy. You get a baggie here with some grub screws and screws that go into the axles. Okay, so on the sway bar link, this piece here with the ball end goes on your axle, and this piece here, which you put the grub screw into, goes on the sway bar, which is dangling right there. So this slides onto that. So we're going to put the grub screw on. We're going to put Loctite on the grub screw. Slide it onto the sway bar first before you screw it into the axle. Now they suggested vertical was better for all around driving. And if you wanted it to be a little bit more stable and have slightly better handling but less crawling ability, you wanted to move it as far back as possible. I don't think I'm going to do a lot of crawling, so I'm going to put it a little bit back. It's not a crawler, it's a monster truck. So there's the sway bar link. There's one. We have to attach 3 more. Okay, now we're doing the other side of the sway bar links. Okay, I went ahead and put some load on the axle in order to be able to get the sway bar links to get more tension out the sway bar. I'm going to do the same thing with the front. This is also going to lower the center of gravity. Okay, sway bar links are in. Now I need to install the brakes. I think that's what I'm doing next. Okay, so now we're going to attach the brake calipers to this. And first we want to get this ready. So we need to, the front one uses the short cable. We want to remove the steel cable from the sleeve. And there is a little spring that comes with this that we're going to need. Okay, so you want to place the spring in between the lever and the bracket and thread this in. So now when the servo pulls on the cable, it's going to do this. And it's going to apply pressure on your caliper. Okay, put the sleeve back in. Okay, and that's it right there. That's how it goes. And now we can mount this. Now when you're putting in your brake cable, you want to route it to where it's a smooth curve. You don't want any kinks in it because that will not allow the steel cable inside to move back and forth freely. So be careful with that. Okay, I'm just trying to find the smoothest route for the cable. I think I have it, so let's get this mounted. Lock tight on your brake caliper bolts. Okay, now the back's going to be the same process pretty much. So I'll do that off camera. Hey, no reason to torture you guys with that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so both front and back calipers are installed. The cables are routed. So now we have to put the stop collars on and adjust the tension. So let's do that real fast. Make sure you put Loctite on the grub screws for the stop collars. Well, I just noticed that the brake servo is a 100 kg servo. That's a lot of braking force. Hopefully these stop collars don't pop off. Okay, so now we have the fully assembled chassis. The axles are on, the shocks are on, the sway bar links are on, brakes are on, routed and connected to the servo. So we still need to do the brushless conversion, which I'm going to do on a different video. But let's get the body on, and then let's get the tires on and see how big this thing is. Oh, this is pretty funny. This truck, they gave me an actual lug nut wrench, a socket, and a lug nut wrench handle to get the serrated nuts on the wheels. That's how you know you have a big RC, when they're giving you car tools. Okay, so here's the body. Alright, now let's get the wheels on. Okay, so the Gravedigger is fully assembled and it is ready to run if I had gas. I don't even own a gas can. I have a 40-volt lawnmower. So this thing is getting a brushless conversion. So here's the motor. It's a brushless conversion kit from Fine Design. I actually called up Chris from Fine Design and had a great conversation with him because I was curious about running this on 12S, and he said that this motor all day long will handle 12S. His concern was that the truck's performance might not handle 12S. The truck itself is strong enough. I mean, this thing's a beast. This thing's a tank. But as far as stopping from the speeds you're going to hit with 12S or taking off with 12S, is this thing going to always end up on its back? So he said you're better off starting off with lower voltage levels, possibly, start out with 6S, 8S before you go up into 12S, because you're going to tear this thing up. But here's the motor. It is going to be a water-cooled system. So it does have a radiator, fans, and everything I have to wire up. But it's going to be a pretty cool conversion. So I should be doing that very soon. And I still have to apply the decals to the body, but I'll do that off camera. That's not anything really exciting. Who wants to watch that? I am going to probably use the water and soap method so I can squeeze out any air bubbles. But I'll do that off camera. So next time you see this truck, it'll be during the brushless conversion. The tires, I only hand tightened the nuts on because I told you before, I can't even get this thing out my door. So my shop door, it won't come out. So it's 1 inch too wide. But it'll come out the rest of the doors in the house, so we're okay. I might have to get a Sawzall and widen the opening. Now that this thing's assembled, I actually need to start doing some more work on the T-Rex. And then I'll get back to the brushless conversion on this. I'll squeeze this in somehow. But if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do so that you'll get notified when I do the brushless conversion. And thank you for watching. Bye.